Welcome everybody to White Cloak's Real Ratings. As always, this data is the official Nielsen data. This is as legitimate as it gets with no corporate spin on it. The trade-off for that legitimacy is that it comes out about a month late. So this is the data for September 5th to September 11th. The number one show in America was not Rings of Power, nor was it House of the Dragon. The winner this week actually was Cobra Kai. The season premiered on September 9th with all 8 episodes and racked up 1.74 billion minutes watched. Considering the lack of advertising for the show outside of Netflix, I'm surprised to see it got that high. Considering these numbers are only for the weekend, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cobra Kai hold the number one spot next week as well and jump over the 3.5 billion mark in total. Devil in Ohio came in at number 2 with 1.37 billion minutes. I predicted this one might get to number 1 this week, but I forgot that Cobra Kai was premiering. With over 2 billion minutes watched in its first week, Devil in Ohio looks like it will be another successful journey into the horror genre for Netflix. Number 3 spot went to Amazon's Rings of Power. With its first full week for 2 episodes, this one did about 25% better than the 900 million minutes I predicted last week. It will be interesting to see if Amazon can hold this one above the 1 billion mark per week, or if this is just a week number 2 boost and a crash is coming next week. Either way, 2.45 billion minutes over the course of 3 episodes has to leave Amazon Prime relieved, if not happy. The number 4 spot went to House of the Dragon with 1.01 billion minutes, and HBO has to be the happiest company still running. Up 224 million minutes watched from last week just in streaming, and with another 2 million people watching via cable, the Game of Thrones audience seems to be turning back up. There aren't many shows released weekly that are still gaining viewership. That's a big deal. Speaking of the devil, the number 5 spot went to Game of Thrones with 805 million minutes watched. That's even up 24 million minutes from last week. As House of the Dragon continues to please, Game of Thrones seems to be doing just as well. The number 6 spot went to Stranger Things. I predicted Stranger Things might fall off into mid-400s last week, and I was absolutely wrong. Netflix original held strong at 599 million minutes, down only 68 million from last week, and now having crossed over 23 billion since I've started recording the numbers. The number 7 spot went to She-Hulk with 493 million minutes. That's 21 million more than last week, which shocks the hell out of me. While it's still not hitting the numbers of something like Loki, She-Hulk is creeping closer and closer to Hawkeye and Moon Knight on a per-minute rate. It may be that She-Hulk got a cameo bump from Megan Thee Stallion, but if numbers hold steady, it may break 4 million in the top 10. The number 8 spot went to Netflix The Imperfects with 465 million minutes over 4 days. Based on the early performance, an 800 million minute performance may be in the cards for next week. Teen horror really is Netflix's bread and butter. The number 9 spot went to The Crown with 345 million minutes. For a minute I thought season 5 had dropped early rather than on November 9th as it's scheduled to. Instead, people decided to turn it on in light of the death of Queen Elizabeth. It'll be fascinating to see if this holds up next week. Since Netflix only records numbers in America, one has to assume the show cleaned up in Britain as well. The number 10 spot went to Virgin River with 343 million minutes. That puts it up to 9.2 billion in total. Considering the total, it's now distinctly possible that Virgin River will beat out Rings of Power in total viewership in the top 10 for 2022. The number 11 spot went to Echoes with 324 million minutes. That brings it up to 2.6 billion watched over 3 weeks. While it's likely off the chart next week, it's still another Netflix horror show that broke 2.5 billion minutes. The number 12 spot went to The Sandman with 306 million minutes watched. This will almost assuredly be its last spot in the top 10, but I said that last week as well. Its 4.7 billion minutes watched and 5-week run in the top 10 has been a not unimpressive total. Its cancellation will make many people unhappy. All things considered, there still doesn't appear to be a winner to declare in the House of the Dragon vs. Rings of Power battle, but for now House of the Dragon is leading in the viewership by about 400 million watched, plus its cable numbers, but at this point it has the advantage of having had 4 more days available to watch, plus a premiere episode available on the Sunday recorded.